8:36 exactly. Welcome back to the show. And we are now going to be talking with Seehaam Samaai. She is the director of the Women's Legal Centre in the Western Cape. And she's here to talk to us about the Women's Legal Centre encouraged by WCHC landmark decision against an interdict seeking to silence a rape survivor. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program, Seehaam. And a big day as far as women's rights is concerned. Talk to us about this case. And this is truly a landmark decision, is it not?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. For us, it's definitely a landmark decision. The Women's Legal Centre is a African feminist legal centre which advances the rights of women through public interest, through strategic litigation. And what we try to do is what we call develop feminist jurisprudence. Jurisprudence which takes into account the lived realities of women, and we bring that information before the court so that the court can make a decision which actually takes and ensures that the discrimination which women go through are actually taken into account. What we do practice is what you call an intersectional form of feminism. So when we come back to this particular case, we have seen many women over the past few years, since the Me Too, hashtag enough is enough, all of those hashtags dealing with sexual harassment and sexual abuse. We have seen that many women have gone to social media to be able to name their perpetrators. And Reverend June, she was a priest in the Anglican Church and was raped out in 2002. She laid a criminal charge, but there was no conviction. And we all know if there are more than 58,000 charges or claims being laid in terms of sexual offences, less than 7 to 8% is actually convicted, which means that the system in itself is a problem and it's stacked against women. In addition to that, we all know when women do come out, there's a lot of victimization, there's a lot of silencing, there's a lot of stereotypes, questions around, did she ask for it? What did she wear? And what the court has found was that all of this information was placed before the court, and the interdict application, which Malvern Boyson wanted to bring against her, what we call a gag order, wanted to bring against her, was set aside. And the court indicated that all of these factors makes it reasonable for a rape survivor or a rape victim to actually go on social media, because she finds a space of safety. She also does it not for reasons of outing or revenge or what people might think, but she does it to be able to ensure that a safe space, to be able to warn other possible parishioners, etc., in relation to this particular case. So we welcome this judgment. We still have a few more cases in the Johannesburg and the Western Cape High Court dealing with these naming of perpetrated cases. And we are confident that this case will also start building the broader jurisprudence around social media and sexual harassment.
Okay, so Seehaam, a couple of things that jumps up at me, and there's issues around, she was raped in the year 2002, and from that point onwards, I think round about 2016 is when she started posting and warning other women about her perpetrator. So why did it take so long for her then to bring, or for the Women's Legal Center, because you represented her, you were friends
Friend of the court.
of the court. So obviously strong support for the victim, who is June Major Dolly. So let's look at those issues. Why this huge time lapse? And we talk about naming and shaming via social media. I'm wondering about, going forward, you also have the issue around protection of rights. So can the perpetrator, who's Melvin Boyson, not use that going forward to say, I'm being defamed, my future has been totally shattered, and this can't go on? Let's look at those issues.
Well, this particular case, or each case, needs to be looked at in its own facts. Melvin Boyson, I mean, she started, and many rape survivors. There are a lot of stereotypes around when rape survivors come out. There's a lot of trauma. And also, the Women's Legal Center was part of a matter, which is the Levenstein case, which there is no longer, but rape has never been, there was never prescription for rape in criminal matters, but even other forms of sexual offenses, because we do know that rape survivors take very long. There's a lot of psychology, there's a lot of work that needs to be done to be able to ensure that they do what they did. She actually laid a criminal charge, but like I said before, Melvin Boyson
she felt led down by the criminal justice system, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see from 2016, she starts also, trying to inform, because like I said before, she informed the church also about these challenges. There is currently a tribunal also busy with investigating her claim. But she has walked a long path to be able to ensure that there's justice. Also, in addition to that, to ensure that there's a safe space and that the Anglican Church does not harbor a rapist at the end of the day. For her, it was about protection of other women, other children, other, parishioners, etc. And so these the court all took into account, and he knew. He brought this matter on an urgent basis. The court found that there was no urgency. In addition to that, this was not an application for defamation. This was an application for an interdict. And defamation has different requirements, which is why the court, it's normally done in a trial. It is not brought an application, because there's a lot of factors that needs to be taken into account before somebody can just say that their dignity, not dignity, but their reputation, etc., is all being impacted. Because we need to look at, there are defenses in terms of defamation, which is broadly around public interest, around truth, around a range of things. And we need to be able to take this into account. And the court said, she even made out a case for a defense for the defamation, if the defamation matter was brought before the court.
Just on the off chance. Okay, finally, Seehaam, this landmark judgment talks directly not only to rape victims or to rape, but broadly to GBV. Yeah. And it is so important. Just highlight that for us, please.
Well, it starts changing the systemic challenges within the court system, because we all know that besides the laws are gender neutral, and it doesn't take into account the broader systemic challenges that rape survivors, rape victims have to go through to be able to navigate the system. And what is positive is that the court actually took that into account. It took into account the failure of the justice system, the failure of the prosecutorial system, the failure of the SAP system, and to be able to see how rape survivors must have actually navigate through this particular system. And that's positive.
Absolutely. Finally, I have no doubt that you are in close contact with the victim, and that is June Major Dolly. She must be feeling truly vindicated. And what has she been saying to you and the people that have supported her?
Well, we are not the lawyers for June, May.
But you
May.
are the friend of the court.
Yes, we are the friend of the court. However, we can see from her postings, etc., that she is not just vindicated, but she is quite happy around the particular judgment because it took into account all her struggles. And I think it's very important to be able to take that into account and to be able to actually ensure that there's a safe space for women.
Seehaam Samaai, Jazakallah for being with us on the show this morning. All
Right.
I can say to you is continue the amazing work you guys are doing. Alhamdulillah, you truly bring hope, peace, and joy to women whose struggles that you go forward and take on and support them. So keep up the amazing work.
Shukran. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. That was Seehaam Samaai from the Women's Legal Centre in Cape Town talking about this landmark judgment against the rape victim, who is June Major Dolly. And of course, the perpetrator was Melvin Boyson, and that has been turned over. And it is certainly good news for women and victims of gender-based violence. 8:48 exactly.